All right, here you go, Dallas. They were getting 8. You didn't need them. They win on the money line. And Bill Reiter told you they were going to win. He took the points, but as part of his parlay, he said, hey, Dallas on the money line at plus 320, and they get it done. They reclaim home court advantage. Remember, they lost. They split the first 2 games in Dallas. Well, they win on the road, so now we are back on serve. And Dallas has won 2 of 3 games over Utah without Luka Doncic. Why? Reason number 1, Jalen Brunson. Look at those 31 points and 1 turnover. And this is off a game where he had 40 points and no turnovers. So last 2 games, he is over 70 points with 1 combined turnover. That is stepping up without my name is Luka. Meanwhile, for the Jazz, D-Mitch with 32. But it didn't seem like a great game. Most of that from the line, 11 of 12 from the charity stripe, 1 of 8 from behind the arc. Ultimately, Utah got down big, they made a run, and then Dallas shrugged their shoulders, steadied, and found their way through it. They win 126-118. I'm Eric Casillas with Bill Reiter. All right, what just happened?
Unforgivable loss by a Utah Jazz team that has to take advantage of the fact there's no Luka Doncic and give the Mavericks credit. You said it, Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie. Those guys stepped up and kept the light and the dream alive for an organization that if they get Luka Doncic back in time, it's looking more likely just because they bought themselves some time. Who knows what could happen?
All right. Utah's broken. I mean, look.
They are broken.
You're losing to Spencer Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson.
It's embarrassing.
Okay. There's a difference between, broken and fixable and broken and you put it out with the trash and you let them take it away and you go get a new one. How broken is Utah fixable? I got some duct tape. Can I fix it or no?
I think they're broken. I think it's a dumpster fire, and I've done a 180 on this. One of the big questions, because Danny Ainge now runs basketball operations in Utah, was whether or not he's going to blow this organization up. There's been rumors talking to sources over the last 3 or 4 months that could happen if things didn't go well in the postseason. EK didn't go well was not make the conference finals. If you lose to the Dallas Mavericks where they don't have Luka Doncic or they don't have him for most of the series, they blow the whole thing up. And I'll draw your attention to something we've discussed the last few days. Since this series began, this team, they don't like each other. Donovan Mitchell had taken public shots at his teammates. He called it the same old bleep earlier in the year. He then reportedly apologized to his teammates, but it didn't go over particularly well. There's tension going back between him and Rudy Gobert 2 years ago when the COVID outbreak shut the league down. When teams don't like each other, they flounder, and we're seeing that in real time in an ugly spectacle.
All right, so Dallas is up 2-1. At worst, they're going to go home 2-2. If Utah does not win in Dallas, they cannot win the series now. What is the percent chance up 2-1, 1-100? Right now, as we're sitting here, Dallas closes the deal and gets out of this series.
I can't believe I'm saying this because I thought, even though I was such a doubter on Utah for the reasons we just talked about, I thought there's no way they could lose this series. I don't think they're going to win this series. I'll give you a 68.9% chance that the Dallas Mavericks win this series. Now, some of what I'm baking in is Luka Doncic, I had heard, was not going to likely be ready for Game 3. Obviously, he did not play. Every game they win, every time they extend this series and take the lead, they push back the need to rush him. So even if they're able to get to a Game 5 or 6 and wait until maybe he can come then, once you add Luka to the mix, Utah can't beat this team. So the fact that they're up without him, they can win the series without him, and there's always some possibility he'll return later in the series as they buy him time. I do not like Utah's chances.
All right, if Dallas, 68.9% of the time it works every time, if they get out of this thing, what's Dallas's ceiling? They get Luka back. I mean, they play the winner of, if they get out of the series, the winner of this series is going to play the Phoenix-New Orleans series. Because remember, in the NBA, there's no reseeding. This is like your NCAA tournament bracket. It's a bracket. So the winner here plays the winner of Phoenix and New Orleans, which Phoenix is banged up. New Orleans is good, but they're not great. I mean, what's their ceiling, the match?
I love this question because my first sort of instinct to you was going to be there's no scenario where Dallas has any kind of a ceiling. And then I thought about it. Luka Doncic is going to come back. If they can beat this broken, hobbled, emotionally destructive, we don't like each other, Utah Jazz dumpster fire in this series without Luka Doncic, that means, EK, they can rest Luka and they can try to get him at, no one's 100%, but 80 or 90 or whatever it is. So if they win the series without having to rush Luka Doncic back, which looks very likely, I mean, they're certainly good enough to make the conference finals. Devin Booker's the best player on that Suns team. We saw Chris Paul go down for a long stretch of this year, and the Suns kept on rolling with Devin Booker. We've seen smaller sample size in this postseason, obviously, no Devin Booker, and the Suns have struggled, so they're beatable. It's not going to be a cakewalk, but they're not the team that they were. This Mavs team, I can't believe it. They become a contender if Utah doesn't do everybody a favor and get rid of this Dallas squad before Luka comes back.
All right. Quinn Snyder's the head coach. If you're Quinn Snyder, you got to give your team a pep talk. You got to figure out something over the next couple of days. You got to try to fix this thing, right? I mean, you're telling me it's broken and it's not fixable, but we're going to try. What's the message? What's the pep talk we give to our Jazz?
So many years ago when I was a newspaper reporter in Kansas City, I covered Quinn Snyder. I know Quinn Snyder. He's one of the most charming people I've ever been around. You and I discussed this earlier. I'm not sure that there's enough charm in that Quinn Snyder reality to be able to get whatever message he needs effectively. I think it's some version of positivity, some version of, look, we've seen teams go down and win series. Last year's Milwaukee Bucks went down 2-0 to the Nets. They're the defending champions. We can't give up. We're going to be fine. Donovan Mitchell passed the ball. I mean, that's the message. We can be, because Mitchell was great to an extent and individually great, but early on he wasn't able to get a shot going and just didn't pass the ball. And you saw a lot of ISO from a Utah team that has to move the rock. I think Rudy Gobert should be more involved. So maybe the message is we can do this. It's early in the series, but we got to play as a team. And if we do that, our ceiling is so much higher than what we've shown.
Yeah, look, I'd say Lennon and McCartney didn't always see eye to eye.
Yeah.
Kobe and Shaq didn't always see eye to eye. But we're going to put on the sister sledge. We're going to dance around the locker room. This is We Are Family. We're going to get back to it. We don't have to love each other, but we got to respect each other, and we have to all be pulling in the same direction, the same goal. And if we do that, we're going to tie it up at 2. We're going to board the plane. We're going to walk into Dallas. They're going to be screaming and yelling for their Mavericks. We're going to get into the huddle. We're going to look at each other's eyes, and we are going to find a way through. And then all the momentum is going to shift back to us. And then we are going to be favored over either Phoenix or New Orleans, because Phoenix is banged up and we're better than New Orleans. We can get on the same page. We are not dead yet. You get on the same page with me, and I will take you to the conference finals. That's all you got to do. You give me 2 weeks, and I will get you to the conference finals. That's what I would say if I was Quinn Snyder. I don't know what's going to work.
It's the right message. Then you got to pull Donovan aside and say, hey, man, I need you to involve everybody.
All right, well, let's wrap it up with this. If they lose this series, is Donovan Mitchell on the Utah Jazz?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, it is one of the biggest questions in the NBA, and the idea that Danny Ainge is going to blow this things up if they lose to the Mavericks, it's a lock. It's a stone-cold lock. I don't think you can bet it, but if you can, find it at whatever number. Donovan Mitchell is a remarkably talented scorer who's shown that he's got an ability to do it in the postseason. I'll give you this answer. Either he's there and everybody else is gone, or else he's gone and there's some pieces that they like. But clearly there's a rift in that organization between Donovan Mitchell and just some of the guys that are around him. I think it's very possible he is somewhere else.
All right, there you go. Utah down 2-1, not out of the series, but they do give away home court. So home court now back with Dallas. Dallas, all they got to do is win 2 games in Big D, and doesn't matter what else happens. They're up 2-1. Game 4 will be in Utah, and then 5 in Dallas, and we'll see where it goes from there. All right, here you go. You look at your little comparison here. Look, the bottom line is this was Dallas and not turn it over as much and playing better defense. Look at the steals, 10-2. Look at the turnovers. And again, it's not just the number of turnovers, it's who, when, and the quality of turnovers. Jalen Brunson, 31 points, 1 turnover. Off a win where he had 40 points and no turnovers. He is over 70 points with 1 turnover in the last 2 games. There's your headline. Dallas, 2-1. They lead over Utah.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.